that I don't even know that she would have been aware of that. Let me tell her.
Yeah.
And she's connecting in anyway.
No worries.
So you can just tell her directly.
Hey Tim, what about Robert Kraus?
His name is not in the request queue.
Oh shit, really?
Really, really.
Oh man.
Yep.
How do I add it to your request?
I think you just sign up. Here it says via user request. Let me see if this is a link. If it is, yep, there you go. I'm sharing it in the chat. They just go and fill that out. That's it. And make sure he signs the NDA, otherwise it'll get automatically rejected.
No, he had the similar issue as Gabrielle, that he already exists in the system, but his profile needed to be changed to Florida and have credentials given.
Yeah, if that's the case, then that's the case. I'm looking him up right now on the Florida list. Yeah, he's not on the Florida list at all. So he needs to be transferred as well. Yeah.
So he still make the request though. Okay.
Yeah, he can make the request. It'll put him in the queue, but I won't be able to act on it until he gets transferred over.
So a question for Matt. So I'm looking at the LPF Facebook page, and I don't see. I see the link, but that you shared out originally, like plans to go live, but then it has a button that says set up live video.
That's because we're live now.
Oh.
Don't do it from the Facebook page. Do it from yourself. I just got a notification that the LPF went live on Facebook.
Okay. So that's got it.
And it's also live on YouTube, and I can confirm Twitter too.
So I can't. Okay, so I have to be on the other status. Got it.
All right. Can anybody figure out if Ed's having any trouble getting on or not? And if so, can we get him another link so we can get this party started? I know he said he was having issues getting into the room.
Pulling the meeting link, sending it to Ed. Nope.
Just a speaker tap.
Messages have been sent. Oh, he's here already. There he is. Ignore my messages, Ed.
Swipe. All right, there's that.
Warm down south in Broward.
All right. Andrew Parrott. Big crowd tonight. All righty, guys. Looks like we got everybody on. Ed, are you all good to go over there?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Okay, excellent.
Sorry, Ben. Sorry, I'm late.
Nope, all good. Wanted to hold off till you got in here. Matt, when you are ready here, I know the live stream's already started. You can hit record on the meeting and we will get this thing kicked off. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Josh Holofka, chairman of the Libertarian Party of Florida. It is July 16th, 2023, 7:36 p.m. and I am officially calling this meeting of the Libertarian Party of Florida to order. All right there. So first order of business tonight is roll call here. Mr. Appler, when you're ready, you may go ahead with roll call.
Thank you, sir. Josh Golovka,
Present.
Tim Crosby,
Here.
Edward Appler, present. Patrick Leisner,
Present.
Robert Vinson, Victor Roos,
Present.
Lee Kortzer,
Present.
Matt Rice,
Here.
Joey Ferguson,
Here.
Leon Armstrong,
Here.
Rachel Danner,
Here.
Andrew Parrott,
Here.
Matt Johnson,
Present.
Padraig Quinn,
Patrick will not be here. I am filling in as his alternate, Eric Cordova.
thank you, sir. Dennis Misegoy,
Present.
Adam Whitworth,
Present.
Michael Rufo,
Present.
John Path,
Here.
Deanna Cosma, she said she wouldn't be here. Lisa Gansky, she also said she wouldn't be here.
All right.
So we have 17 present, 3 absent. We have quorum.
Outstanding. We got quorum here. Thank you, Mr. Appler. Next up on the agenda is item 4, public comment. We get given 10 minutes for anybody in the gallery who'd like to address the executive committee, a chance to have that opportunity. Is there anybody in the gallery wishing to seek recognition for public comment? Hearing and seeing no one, I guess that means we can move on. So I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, all of our general membership. Always appreciate you guys taking an invested interest in the LPF over here. Moving along with the agenda, though, we are on item 5, approval of the agenda. The chair will now entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
All right.
Seconded. Howitzer.
I had Mr. Rufo move to, or excuse me, move the motion there. I had Mr. Kortzer seconded. Is there any discussion on the approval of the agenda?
I would like to amend the motion,
Go ahead,
or
Mr.
amend the
Crosby.
agenda, rather. Posting the list as usual in the chat for Ed's convenience, but I'd like to remove all reports except for the following: committee chair and regional rep reports and executive members. I don't know. Sorry, my thoughts aren't with me tonight. Vice chair, Dal 1, Region 3, Region 4, Region 6, Region 9, legislative action and membership to be the only reports to remain.
I'll second that.
All right. So there was a motion by Mr. Crosby to amend the agenda to strike all committee and EC reports except for the following: Vice Chair, Director at Large 1, Regions 3, 4, 6, 9, and then the Legislative Action and Membership Committee. This amendment was seconded by Mr. Johnson. Is there any discussion on the amendment?
This is Martin Cowan. Are you going to exclude my very short report?
Negative. You're with the
It
LNC,
was-
right? Negative.
Okay, I was going to say, generally speaking, no, Martin. I was going to say Mr. Crosby did not list yours specifically, and I believe he had specifically mentioned only executive committee and standing committee reports there. So your very short report will remain, Mr. Cowan. And I appreciate you showing up as well. Is there any further discussion on the amendment to the agenda? Hearing none. Is there any objection to the amendment to the agenda? All right, hearing no objection, I'm going to say that that amendment passes unanimously here, and we'll move back on to the main motion here, which is the amended agenda. Is there any further discussion or amendments to the agenda? Is there any objection to the amended agenda? Hearing no further discussion or debate. Hearing silence, I am going to take that as the motion is approved unanimously and we can move along. Congratulations, we have an agenda now. All right, so moving along with the agenda, item 6 is approval of the LPFEC meeting minutes from June 18th, 2023. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll move it.
All right, moved by Mr. Ferguson. Do I have a second on the approval of the meeting minutes?
I'll second.
Mr. Johnson seconds. Is there any discussion on the approval of the meeting minutes? Hearing none, is there any objection to the approval of the meeting minutes? Hearing no objection, meeting minutes for June 18th are approved. And we can move on to item 7 on the agenda, approval of the LPFEC special meeting minutes from July 9th, 2023. Is there a motion to approve these meeting minutes?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Johnson. Do I have a second on this?
Second.
Second.
I heard Mr. Kortzer first with the second there. So Johnson moves, Kortzer seconds. Is there any discussion on the approval of the meeting minutes? Hearing none, is there any objection to approving these meeting minutes? Hearing none, I'm going to say that these meeting minutes are approved, and thank you all for approving of the meeting minutes here. So item 8 on the agenda is the LNC report. Mr. Cowan, I see you on the call here. When you're ready, sir, you have the floor, Mr. Cowan. Go ahead.
Thank you all for allowing me to be your alternate representative on the LNC. I'm deeply honored by that. I really enjoy my role up there. We are going to have an in-person meeting in DC at the Convention 2024 Convention Hotel starting on August the 18th, and I'm going to go to that. I'm sure our buddy Dave Benner will go to that too. I'm looking forward to seeing Steve and Nikayla there. I am so happy to see on this call Eric and Gabrielle Cordova, my great friends. There's nothing to report from the LNC. You know, we don't do a lot of chatting anymore. I don't know why that exactly is, but I used to enjoy our emails that we don't do much more. But I am enjoying, I'm looking forward to getting face-to-face with all of my fellow members up in DC. That's my report. Again, thank you for allowing me to serve, and I look forward to seeing you next month.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Cowan. Is there any questions or comments for our LNC region rep? All right, hearing and seeing no one looking to be recognized there. Mr. Cowan, I want to thank you again. Appreciate your service on the LNC to all of us down here in Region 2. And we will move on to item 9 on the agenda, which is committee reports here. Believe, if I'm not mistaken, we have struck all the committee reports except legislative action and the membership report there. Is there a representative from the legislative action committee on the call tonight? I know Mr. Vincent normally chairs that committee. He's not here tonight, so just want to give them, if anybody's available, first shot, and then Mr. or Dr. Mahidas, you'd be up next with the membership committee. Anybody from LAC? Going once, going twice. All right. Dr. Mihas, you have the floor, sir. Go ahead with your report for the membership committee.
Okay, so on Sunday, June 25, we held the first Zoom meeting of the group of formed to affiliate Sarasota County with the LPF. 5 Sarasota Libertarians showed up, as well as the Region 10 representatives, Adam Whitworth, and the chair of the affiliates committee, Christina Baxter. And on Sunday, July 2nd, they held their first in-person meeting in Sarasota. In Sarasota, we tried contacting 685 libertarians to encourage them to form an affiliate and to join the LPF, We spoke by phone and sent emails or text to 122 of them, left voicemails and text messages to 240 of them, and sent emails, text only to the rest. 35 considered joining the affiliate formation meeting, and 47 considered joining the LPF, and 12 actually joined the LPF, as well as the 5 that went to the meeting. So on Tuesday, July 11th, I had a phone call with John Paff of Region 12 to discuss the possibility of doing this campaign in Collier County if there was no affiliation group forming there. He stated that there was none and welcomed the campaign. We now have 4 people working on this campaign, the two members of this committee, plus one who is going to be seeking membership, Saisun Tassis, plus another who is a member of other committees, but volunteered to spend some time on these campaigns, Gabriela Cordova. And we all now have the spreadsheet with the Libertarian registered voter information for Collier County. On the registered voter data, only about 45% of phone numbers and 35% of email addresses are provided. In the less populous counties, their total phone and email addresses are too few to succeed forming an affiliation group, given the low percentage of people who answer their phones and the percentage of those that volunteer. That is why in the less populous counties, we supplement that data with phone numbers and addresses purchased from the data broker Data 247. And that pretty much sums up what is going on here.
All right, thank you, Dr. Mijas. Is there any questions or comments for the membership committee? Going once, going twice, hearing none. Yep, go ahead, Mr. Roos.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hello, Dr. Mejia. This is great news that we're the progress your committee is making. I had a quick question about what your thoughts are on us sponsoring some type of voter registration drive. Where we have some, if there've been any plans to do so, either it's standing outside of malls or actually canvassing certain neighborhoods to try and actually sign people up for the party itself. Obviously, that would take a long time, but it's part of the process.
Yeah, I don't have any plans for that. But you mean if you're talking about voter registration to get people who are leaning libertarian to register, or just for everybody?
Well, that would be a strategic decision that I would leave to your committee.
Yeah, I would want to do it for libertarians, but that also requires the effort of identifying people who are libertarians and are not registered yet. That's a pretty difficult task. And if it's for everybody, then I don't necessarily see what benefit we get. So that's why I haven't done it yet, because that is a much, much bigger challenge. In my experience from trying other things besides this, it's a lot easier to get people who are already registered libertarians to form a committee in their county and to become member of the LPF than it is to get the attention of somebody who's not a libertarian and convince them. So I'm not trying to escape from that. Actually, I would much more love to work on that than just trying to get libertarians to become members of the party. I would enjoy that a lot more. But it's every time I've tried it, it's really we make very, very little progress. Maybe that is an area where more progress can be made in social media and other kinds of publications that are for everybody, not just people we call.
Mr. Chair,
Right.
one more question.
Go ahead, Mr. Roos.
Thank you. So just to clarify, Dr. Miaz, so if you had a list of registered voters that lean libertarian, that is to say that somehow some data science was done on the voter registration list to identify people who could, if we reached out to them, change your voter registration, that would be useful for you for that end.
Well, I've already done that analysis, and basically what it said was that the this is going to be no surprise to anybody, that people who lean libertarian are more likely to be men, they're more likely to be white, and they're more likely to live in an area that is thinly populated, that is with low population ratios, scattered people. So those are the three characteristics that most define the demographics of libertarians, and I am fairly convinced that those same characteristics would be the ones that define the people who could lean libertarian. In other words, I would expect a somewhat significantly greater percentage of those people leaning libertarian than those that are not there. The only problem is that if we just look for libertarians who are demographically the same, leaning libertarians who try to attract more into the party, who are demographically the same as we are, I'm not sure if we want to do that. That really begins to, we have to think about whether or not we really want to bring more of the same demographics that we already have.
Understood. Thank you, Dr. Mijas. All right, want to thank, is there any further questions or comments for the membership committee? All right, hearing none, we will move into EC committee reports here. So I believe we wiped most of the committee reports, but we do have a few that we have to get through here. First one is going to be the vice chair report. Mr. Crosby, are you still on the call?
Of course.
All right, excellent, sir. When you're ready, you may go ahead and begin your report.
I'll make it brief because I did end up posting this on BB, but I wanted to demonstrate fairness. You know, my report wasn't posted in time, so I'm forced to give a verbal. Main focus right now has been the Civi CRM and getting the access and doing all that. I just finished clearing up the queue for it. So Charlene Couliard, James Earwood, Rich Heffelfinger, you guys have all been approved. Only ones that I didn't approve or could not get approved were for Gabby Cordova, because like I mentioned before the meeting, I have to get transferred over to Florida to make that happen. I don't have access to her user profile right now. And then Eric Parker, he requested it during his campaign for use during his campaign. The campaign has since expired, so I just canceled it for that reason. If he wanted to get access as a county leader, then I guess we could approve that, no problem. But just giving you guys an update of where we are there. Still working on getting us some greater access to the ability to edit our website. That's something that I know the communications committee really wants to be able to do. So still trying to figure that out. And then next thing that I want to work on regarding Civi is getting all of our region reps and EC members who don't already have access, getting that to them, and then move down from there to county level. And just the more people we have in there that are updating this information and keeping it relevant, the more useful it will be to everyone. So that's kind of where my focus has been and where it's at right now. Next month, I will put it all in writing ahead of time so you don't have to sit through this next time. Open to any questions.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Crosby. Is there any questions for the vice chair? All right. Hearing and seeing none, we will move on with EC reports here. So I was going to say Director at Large 1 is Mr. Vincent on the call here. All right, Mr. Vincent has not made the call yet, unfortunately, not a problem. So we will move along. Next up was Region 4. Ms. Armstrong, I know you said you're not feeling well, and I know you also emailed your committee report well ahead of the meeting there. So if you would like to speak, that's your prerogative, Ms. Armstrong, but in the interest of you already saying you'd like to speak at minimum at best there, there is any questions for Ms. Armstrong, I'll be more than I would allow for them. But Ms. Armstrong, once again, you did submit your report via email well before the meeting. So if you don't want to or don't feel up to it, I completely understand. All right. All right. No worries, Ms. Armstrong. Is there any questions for the Region 4 rep? Once again, guys, her report was in your email from earlier this afternoon. Hearing and seeing none. Want to thank you again, Ms. Armstrong, for emailing that out. I know Mr. Johnson is working to get you access to the bulletin board. I see the discussion going on in the chat. So no worries there. Hopefully we'll get that set up and we won't have to deal with this a second time. Next up is Region 6 that was up for report. Mr. Parrott, are you on the call?
Yes, sir. And I'll keep it even briefer. Nothing to report.
Thank you, Mr. Parrott. Is there any questions for the Region 6 rep? Hearing and seeing none. Once again, thank you, Mr. Parrott, for your report. Region 9, that is Mr. Misigoy. Are you still on the call, sir?
I am.
Go ahead when you're ready, Mr. Misigoy. You have the floor, sir.
Sure, and I apologize for not being able to get this together and put in, and not necessarily being able to touch base with all the affiliates. Seminole, I know, is chugging along. They had a few events in the last month. There's a Right to Clean Water organization did a presentation with them within the last month. They actually put out an endorsement on their Facebook page. I'm not sure if they put out any other avenues, but you guys can check that out. I haven't delved too much into it, but I knew about when it was happening. As well, they've done some neighborhood cleanup, participated in some stuff around 4th of July as well, like I know some of the affiliates do in some of the local communities to help with visibility. I believe on the recent public area cleanup, they had worked with some of the Democrats in that area as well. Orange County is going through a little bit of transition. I guess not officially yet, but I know that there's been concern about some of the officers' ability to be engaged and to make sure the affiliate is as active as everyone would like. At least some of the folks I speak to would like for it to be. And so I think I think there's some potential for some changes in the officers there, but nothing official has happened yet. So I'll obviously report on that when that happens, and if and when that happens, I should say. But part of that again is motivated by the fact that the affiliate hasn't been tremendously active for that reason, I think. So Osceola remains in its current state. I have not been able to get much active in terms of trying to move things along for that, and again, that's on me. I haven't had an opportunity to get properly updated with Brevard ahead of the meeting. I know they continue to plan obviously for the gala in November, and I believe may have been doing it, if I understood properly, that they did have some community outreach events of not quite a similar vein, but again, the same sort of efforts in terms of community outreach with events like that. So, but that's about all I have for the report, unless anybody has any questions.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Misigoy. Is there any questions or comments for our Region 9 rep? All right. Hearing and seeing none, I want to thank you again, Mr. Misigoy, for your report. And we will move along with the agenda now here, guys. So next item on the agenda is item 12, unfinished business. There is no unfinished business here. Item 13 is new business. First item under new business is item A, election of a Region 3 representative. At this time, the chair will now entertain any nominations for Region 3 representative. Going once, going twice. All right, so we will move on from the election of the Region 3 representative there. Once again, if there is any interest in that position, please let them know to attend the next executive committee meeting so we can get them onboarded here. Item B under new business is motion 813. This is titled Motion to Approve Expenditures for the 2024 Convention. The mover is Mr. Leisner. Do I have a second on this motion?
I'll second it.
All right, seconded by Mr. Johnson here. Mr. Leisner, are you still on the call, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, excellent. Would you like to speak on your motion real quick, sir?
Sure. Should I just go ahead and repeat it too, or?
Just for the sake of following Ron, or just read the actual motion title itself here, and then I was going to say if you want to break it down, that's perfectly fine.
Okay. So I move to approve the expenditure of the following funds towards the venue of the entertainment of the 2024 convention in the amount of $3,750. So broken down, this is $1,000 for the initial deposit to secure the contract and venue. That's all we would owe at this time. The rest would be paid 60 and 30 days out. And then the rest of the amount is broken down for $1,000 to bring in Gene Epstein, $1,000 for Angela McCardle, and $750 for Karen Ann Harlos. The committee has spoken to all three of these potential speakers, and they've all agreed to come. And basically, terms are at least relatively met. We haven't signed any contracts with them, but we have discussed these speakers. So I think all three would be great for the convention. And if there are any questions about the amounts or speakers themselves or anything in this motion, happy to help answer those questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Leisner. Do we have any discussion on the motion? Mr. Cordova, I already saw your hands up. You got the floor, sir. Go ahead.
Well, first, I'd just like to motion to amend to two separate motions so that we can approve the deposit separately. And because I think there's going to be more discussion on the speakers. I don't think there's going to be as much on the deposit. So I'd like to move that it is separated into two separate motions, the deposit and then the speakers.
All right, so there was a motion to separate the question there where it would separate the approving of the security deposit, or yes, their initial deposit to the South Bank Hotel from the speaker price. Is that correct, Mr. Cordova?
Yes.
Okay, there. So there, once again, guys, this was a motion to divide the question here. Is there a second on this motion or amendment?
Sure, I'll second.
All right, Mr. Reese seconds. Is there any discussion on dividing the question here? Going once, going twice. All right, hearing no discussion, we'll take this to a quick and simple voice vote, guys. A yay vote would be in favor of dividing the question here and making this into two separate votes, and no vote would be to keep all of this as one singular whole vote here. Does anybody not understand what we're voting on before we vote? All right, hearing no one with any questions here, we'll move this to a vote. All in favor of dividing the question, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say no.
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 Sounds like the ayes have it, unfortunately, no's. So we have divided the question here. So we will go right into the first portion, which is the vote on the non-refundable initial deposit to the South Bank Hotel Jacksonville Riverwalk to lock in the contract venue. Is there any discussion on this question? Going once, going twice. All right, didn't expect there to be too much discussion on this portion here, so we're going to take it to a simple voice vote. Just so everybody understands what they're voting on, a yay vote would be in favor of approving the $1,000 security deposit. A no vote would be against approving that expenditure. Does anybody not understand what we're voting on?
I'm sorry, is this, I had a quick question, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Mr. Roos.
This is $1,000 toward a deposit for a contract that the board has seen already, right? That's.
Yes, this is, yep, the contract's already been approved. We're just approving the expenditure now for the $1,000. Mr. Leisner, I see your hands up. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, it was my belief that because we didn't pass a dollar amount previously, that's why I wanted to move this, just to make sure we're doubly covered.
Understood, Mr. Leisner. I appreciate your fiscal responsibility to the organization. Is there any further discussion on the approval of the security deposit? Once again, a yay vote would be in favor of approving the $1,000. A no vote would be against that expenditure. Any questions on what we're voting on before we vote? All right. Hearing and seeing no questions. All in favor of approving the $1,000 security, please say aye.
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 All
Aye.
opposed? Please say no. Ayes have it. Sounds like. All right, so we're going to move on to the second part of the question here, which was divided, which was approving the expenditure of $2,750 for speaker travel arrangements, speaker fees, and accommodations for the following speakers: Gene Epstein, Angela McCardle, Karen Ann Harlos here. Are there any discussions on this expenditure? Mr. Cordova, your hand's up again. Mr. Roos, I see your hands up as well. Mr. Cordova, you can go first. After that, Mr. Roos, you have the floor. Mr. Cordova, go ahead when you're ready.
Yeah, I'd just like to request a breakdown of what the expenditures are, being that there are different amounts for different people here. I'd like to see if that can be shared in the chat or with the screen share what the expenditures are for each individual speaker before we vote on it.
Understood, sir. I'm trying to pull it up myself here because I believe that there was a spreadsheet with the breakdown of the expenditures. Mr. Leisner, could you address that, or maybe put that link in the chat here for everybody here? Because like I said, I know I've seen it. I can't find it expeditiously.
Right. I do have it up here. I'm not sure I necessarily want to make it public record, but I'm happy to break down these three in particular. I have other speakers on my spreadsheet as well that are not official. So, but basically the cost for these three are Gene Epstein has requested that if he comes, he would waive any speaker fee, but he would require that we pay for his wife to attend with him. So for the cost of 2 flights, based on what I was able to find from New York to Jacksonville, it was $356 for the 2 of them round trip. It's a direct flight. The hotel room is 2 nights at our 135 plus tax rate, so that totals $306. And then estimated cost for meals, which was rough estimate, so it's not perfect, of $287, and that totals to be $949, $950 roughly. So I just rounded up. Then for Karen and Harlos, the flight cost was estimated to be $227, hotel again $306, meals for only one person, so $144. So totaling $677, and I rounded up. Angela McCardle's estimated flight cost of $295, estimated hotel again of $306, again estimated meal cost of $144, and she did request a speaker fee of $200, and that totaled out to be 1,045, so it's actually a little more. The one thing to note is that we do get 3 free room nights based on us booking over 100 room nights with our group rate. So the room rates will be applied to our speakers because we use those free rooms for our speakers. So the net cost will come down, and generally we apply that across the speakers. So there's a little bit of overhead built in, but basically all the costs are estimated on flights from wherever we're bringing them in, the hotel, the meals included, and any speaker fee that they asked for. Hopefully that answers the question. I can try to figure out another way to post it so that everyone can kind of see the breakdown.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Leisner. Mr. Cordova, did that answer your question, sir?
Yes, I appreciate the breakdown. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Cordova. Mr. Roos, I know your hand was up next. Mr. Leisner, was your hand up to address Mr. Cordova's question? Oh, okay, I'm going to assume the hand going down means that was exactly what I was about to say. Mr. Roos, you have the floor, sir. Go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had 2 questions. One is I see that the committee is giving us a little request here, a little request there, and I'm trying to figure out what our overall spend is going to look like at the end of all this. Because we've already spent a little bit more than what we usually do for F&B for the general convention location, and although I'm of course not opposed to any of these people coming to our convention, I am a little curious as to this is the first time I ever hear of like sitting LNC members wanting to be paid to come to affiliates for their convention. Frankly, I would rather have that question. I'd rather pay the $200 fee myself, honestly. But that's I just wanted to figure out, get a big picture of what's going to be the next request, because I've asked for the convention committee to give us a budget overall, like just even a picture of what this will look like, and I still haven't gotten it. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Roos. Mr. Leisner, I see your hands up. I'm going to guess you want to address the questions.
Yeah, I was just going to respond to that if that's all right.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Leisner, when you're ready.
Yeah, we have a convention meeting set for tomorrow. Basically, the reason why I'm pushing this motion piecemeal instead of all as one budget is because we haven't had a meeting to discuss the overall budget for convention. And so I didn't want to push an entire budget without, at least, going over it with the committee itself. So this motion was pushed by me as an individual or of the EC rather than the committee. And the reason why I'm pushing this separately is simply I didn't want to wait another month before we could start locking in speakers. Obviously, with convention season and the closer we get, I just feel like it's smart to lock in as many speakers as early as possible, and this would allow us to do that. So that's why I broke it out. But the plan is to discuss in detail the overall budget tomorrow night's meeting, and hopefully be able to present something in full at our next meeting.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Leisner.
Mr. Chair, follow-up question.
Go ahead, Mr. Roos, but this will be your second bite at the apple.
That's right. So Mr. Leisner, so you're saying that if we wait another 30 days for an approval of an overall budget, that would prejudice your ability to basically lock down speakers 7 months ahead?
Go ahead, Mr. Leisner. It was a direct question.
So, okay, sorry. I mean, I wouldn't say it would inhibit us, but as the convention committee chair, I do feel like, we trying to keep the ball moving forward and making sure we're continuing to get pieces accomplished. This would allow us to do that. I didn't think it was going to be a huge argument, so I figured it would pass pretty easily and it wouldn't be a problem. But if there's a problem with any speaker in particular, I'd be happy to amend it to remove them, or if there's anything I can do to amend this motion to allow us to lock down any speakers, or if it's just going to be a problem in general, we can scrap it. But I just wanted to basically keep the ball rolling and get some speakers locked.
Thank you, Mr. Leisner. I appreciate your feedback on that. Mr. Rufo, go ahead, sir. You have the floor.
Oh, I, for one, would like to thank you, Mr. Leisner, for being proactive and doing what you can to avoid issues that ourselves and many other LPs across the country have run into in the past when waiting too long to try and book speakers. It has often happened that speakers have been booked 6 months out in advance, and we've been able to, I've been privy to and witnessed people missing out on speakers they really wanted because of timing. And I think your proactive work is great. I appreciate you, the work that your committee has put in, and I look forward to having a fantastic convention pre-national convention.
Thank you, Mr. Rufo. Mr. Johnson, you have the floor, and I do have a question, but I'm going to hold off until everybody else is gone.
I would just,
Mr. Johnson, you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No, thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just like to second what Mr. Rufo just said and thank Patrick for all the hard work that he's put on. But I'd also like to say, as having been one of the two people responsible for locking in speakers for last year's convention, that if you wait, you can absolutely miss the opportunity, because some of these speakers book themselves a year out. I'm not necessarily saying that's the case with Angela or Karen Ann, but it's absolutely possible to have them interested at 1 minute, and then a month later oh, you know what? I can't make those dates now because somebody actually locked it in and signed a contract. And with that, I'd like to call the question.
All right. So thank you, Mr. Johnson. And there was a motion to call the question. Was there a second on that?
Second.
All right. Second by Mr. Rufo. All right. So there's been a motion to call the question by Mr. Johnson. It's been seconded by Mr. Rufo over here. The motion to call the question is always in order, and it is not debatable. So just to make sure everybody understands what we are voting on real quick, a yes vote would be to move on into voting to approve the speakers. A no vote would be to continue discussion on the speaker approval. Is there any questions on what we are voting on before we move into voting? All right. Hearing and seeing none. All in favor of calling the question, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed, please say no.
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 Aye. And the ayes have it. So we will move on to voting here. So we are now on to voting to approve the funds for the convention guests here, guys. Just to make sure everybody understands what we're voting on, a yay vote would be to approve the $2,750 to lock in Gene Epstein, Angela McCardle, and Karen Ann Harlos. A no vote would be against approving those expenditures. Does anybody not understand what we're voting on before we vote? Hearing and seeing no questions. All in favor? Actually, how much is this again? This is over 2,500, I believe. Yes, it is. All right. Since it's over 2,500, I always like to do a roll call vote with anything with that amount or more. So, Mr. Appler, when you're ready, you can go ahead with that roll call vote, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Josh Love.
I'm going to pass till the end, Mr. Secretary.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Tim Crosby.
Aye.
Edward Epler, I'm voting aye. Pat Leisner.
I'm going to abstain.
Hector Roos.
I also abstain.
Lee Carter.
I abstain.
Pat Rice.
Aye.
Joey Ferguson.
Aye.
Leon Armstrong.
Miss Armstrong put aye in the chat, Mr. Appler.
Thank you, sir. Rachel Danner.
Abstain.
Andrew Parrott,
Aye.
Matt Johnson,
Aye.
Eric Cordova,
Abstain.
Dennis Missagoy,
Aye.
Adam Whitworth,
Aye.
Michael Rufo,
Come back to me, please.
yes, sir. John Path,
Aye.
A little concerned with all these abstentions, guys. I'm not gonna lie.
10 ayes and 5 abstained so far.
10 ayes and 5 sustains.
5 abstains, no nays. Malofka and Rufa have passed.
Mr. Rufo, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I mean, we have enough to pass the motion. So because I'm on the LNC, I don't really want to be, I have to abstain, I think. I think it's only proper, being a member of the LNC and 2 LNC members being involved in this motion, I should be abstaining.
All right, and I'm also going to abstain.
That then would be 10 ayes and 7 abstaining. Nays.
No nays. Somebody with a little bit more
Point of
parliamentary-
information.
Go ahead, Mr. Crosby, because I
So
think I have the same
abstentions-
point of information
Yeah,
myself right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So my understanding is that abstentions don't count towards the total vote, and as long as there's a majority of those who've actually voted, it passes. Am I right?
That was what I was about to ask for clarity on. Is it a majority of those who voted or a majority of the voting members present?
Mr. Thompson of the Rules Committee, if you wouldn't mind weighing in.
Yes, Mr. Thompson is the only representative for the Rules Committee. We may need you to be the final.
We had, did we have 10 people vote aye?
Yes, sir. We had
And we
10
have a
people
majority.
vote
We
aye.
have a majority of voters voting aye anyway, so the question doesn't get called in that sense, right? You have a majority of the total body, regardless of whether or not it's a majority of the number of with abstentions or not.
Gotcha, Mr. Thompson. 11 would be a majority for this board, so
Right,
that's where we're.
Because we have 17 people on the board, or what's the number? What's the voting number?
We have 20 board members, so that would make the quorum or majority would be 11.
But how many?
No, but it's majority of the
present?
people present, Mr.
Yeah,
Chair.
it's the majority of the people present, and there's only like 17 people, 18 people present.
2, 3, 4, 5,
17
6,
present.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, including myself. Well, when you're right, Mr. Thompson, and you're right. So the ayes have it. The motion passes. Congratulations. We have a budget and are going to have some speakers now on the convention. All right, guys. Thank you for that. Moving on to item C is motion 814. This is titled Motion to Approve a Budget for Member Outreach for Unaffiliated Counties. The mover is Mr. Johnson on behalf of the Communications Committee. Since it was moved out of committee, it does not require a second. So, Mr. Johnson, if you'd like to speak on behalf of your committee's motion, you have the floor, sir, and then we'll go into the discussion.
Sure. So for those who may not have the motion in front of you, I'll just read the motion itself, and then I will kind of give a rundown. The Communications Committee, we voted on this motion, and I'm moving it. I move to have the following funds approved to be used by the Communications Committee in order to run targeted Facebook ads and text message marketing to LPF registered voters in an effort who are not members. I should have clarified that in the motion, but to obtain new members to the LPF for the purpose of eventually affiliating the following currently unaffiliated counties: Walton, Holmes, Leon, Clay, St. John's, Osceola, Hernando, Pasco, St. Lucie, Sarasota, which I understand is in the works as it is, Flagler, Putnam, and any other unaffiliated counties whose region representative expresses an interest. The approved budget would be used for the term of August 1st through September 30th. 2023, and it would be $300 for the month of August, $300 for the month of September, with a total budget of $600. So the rationale behind this is twofold. One, there's been a lot of debate and a lot of discussion on how we grow the party without having presidential preference primaries paid for by taxpayer funds. And the answer to that, in my opinion, as the communications chair in my committee, is that we spend the money to market to them. Secondly, this is legitimately what I do for a living. For over 15 years is online marketing. We did this as a committee on behalf of the convention last year. And just to give you some raw data, we were given a total budget of $700 to run Facebook ads and text message marketing for convention. We targeted registered LPF voters obtained from the voter disc in March, and we ran those ads for just one weekend with the message of discounted registrations. And the discount was by minimal amount, but again, the goal was to get people to register for LPF convention. We spent a total of $130 and reached 5,622 LPF voters. Out of that number, 259 of them clicked on the ads either directly to the Facebook page or to the convention website. And out of that, in one weekend, we were able to convert one additional convention registrant who would not have previously registered, likely. We also ran a final push campaign from April 5th through the day convention started, April 21st. And during that period, we reached 35,324 impressions, 1,208 ad clicks. We spent $400, and we were able to turn 7 of those people into registrations, one of which was a VIP or the gold level package at $500. Like I said, this is what I do for a living. I work for an agency who works with nonprofits whose goal is to increase their membership. And our ads are intentionally designed to attract new members to these agencies. I'll give you an example. If we can get LNC to get off their rear ends and give Tim and I the access that we've been requesting, then we have the ability to actually implement what's called a cookie, a tracking code, a tracking pixel onto the LPF website, and we can verify not just how many people joined as a member, but exactly how much they contributed in doing so as a direct result of our ads. For the month of June, one of my clients at work was able to get 150,000 impressions and 55 purchases of membership and bring in over $10,000 in revenue with only spending $1,600. And I'm confident that, using the tools that I have and the skills that I've honed over the course of 15 years, that we could obviously make this beneficial for the LPF and grow the party.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Koritzer, I've seen your hands up since the beginning. You have the floor, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm pretty supportive of this motion, but I do have a request to Mr. Johnson. Is there any reason we can't ensure that all unaffiliated counties are included so that we don't have to wait for a request for others like Marion or other counties? We just reach out to all unaffiliated.
Mr. Johnson, would you like to address that?
Yeah,
question?
I'd like to address that directly. We absolutely can. But if my reason behind selecting a certain number rather than all of them is the amount of budget. It would get diluted based on the number of LPF voters that would be targeted, because the way we go about doing that is we, like I said, upload a file, a spreadsheet, and Facebook matches based on first name, last name, city, state, zip code, phone number, and or email addresses. And so we don't get that information that it matches, but it hashes that information and it matches it directly to a Facebook account. So with a limited budget of $300 a month, if we're adding in every single county affiliate or that is not affiliated, then we're diluting that budget and we're getting less bang for our buck. But it's absolutely doable that we can add them to it. I don't think it would be cost effective with that small of a budget. And I don't think this type of a test right off the bat, so I don't think it's something that the LPF has ever done to the best of my knowledge. So I would first like to test it on some that we know have people that we could affiliate or not affiliate, but get involved. And then moving forward, we can scale it as necessary. That was my thinking behind that.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Corsa, hopefully that answered your question. Ms. McCauley, I see your hands up. Go ahead when you're ready.
Yeah, since two of my counties are mentioned in the thing, I just wanted to state that, like as all of our documents, we have officers, we're just pending rules committee and stuff, so we don't need advertisements for this purpose. If you want to send, if the board wants to send Clay and St. John's help in growing the affiliates, that is something we are very welcoming to. But I also feel like the group we're getting together in St. John's is fine now for the purpose of getting towards affiliation, but this help is needed in Nassau. So if we want to amend to take Clay and St. John's out, if we've got the people, we don't need advertisement for the purpose of affiliation right now. But it's needed in Nassau if we can change that around. And I would also want to ask if other region reps whose counties are mentioned in the motion, if they have feedback on what the status of their counties are in their region. Just because I wasn't really asked about this, and I know Clay is solidly on track, and I feel like St. John's can do this without this resource, and I would rather see the resource put towards Nassau.
All right, thank you, Ms. McCauley. I got
Mr. Chair, could I address that, please, real quick?
Sure, Mr. Johnson, go ahead.
I think Ms. McCauley is kind of missing the forest for the trees. The overall goal here is to increase members where we know membership can be increased. With the end goal being having these new members, membership committee can then help affiliate those that are not affiliated. Maybe I didn't kind of word that as efficiently as I could have, but the goal is to obtain new members to the LPF.
Yes,
right.
I guess I just read it wrong. The way I read it was that it was for the purpose of getting counties affiliated. And I was just trying to state that we are on track with St. John's and Clay, but this help is needed in Nassau.
And I'm absolutely perfectly okay if you're you don't want this, then sure, we can absolutely replace the counties.
All right, guys, appreciate the back and forth discussion here, but want to give everybody a chance to be heard before we move into voting. Ms. McCauley, appreciate your discussion on the matter. Mr. Johnson, thank you for addressing those concerns and questions. I have Dr. Mijas and Mr. Roos are next up with their hands up. When you're ready, Dr. Mijas, you have the floor, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to support this, Mr. Matt Johnson on this effort. I think that's exactly what we need. We have been discussing and will continue discussing how to best coordinate his effort with mine so that they complement each other, especially because he's an expert on social media, which we're not over here. I am just thrilled to know that somebody else who's good with social media can complement the effort, and this will really make it a lot easier to get more members and more affiliations of the counties.
All right, thank you, Dr. Mijas. Mr. Roos, when you're ready, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you. I'm also in support of the motion. I want to point out that we did a program like this through just text messages. Spent about I believe it was $600. Have a list of about I think it was either a little more than 600 people throughout a number of counties. That's been useful for development. So I totally believe that we should be doing this at least once a year like this. And frankly, this program should be expanded. And I've told Matt Johnson this, after he's done with this program, he should just hit all the other counties unless they've expressly say they don't want it. So that's where I'm at. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Roos. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Ms. McCulley, is your hand up again to be recognized?
Yes.
Go ahead when you're ready. You get your second bite.
Yeah, so I could like poll my people in St. John's and Clay and see if they want to use up these funds or if they would rather see it go to Nassau, which has like no people right now, but we know there's a lot of registered L's in there. So maybe we could put in a thing that like the region reps poll their people if they have people in those counties. I don't know. I'm just trying to work it out so like this money goes where it's most needed.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Stanner. Is there any further discussion or topic on the motion? And just as a aside, guys, because I've had this brought up to me by the Rules Committee in the past, the chat on here on Zoom is not for discussion or debate. So I understand we want to, we keep it open for technical reasons here, but unfortunately, I'm seeing a lot of this over the last couple of meetings where we're using the chat logs as a way to debate and discuss motions without, actually having to be recognized. So keep it to a minimum, guys. Once again, the chat is for technical issues and for technical questions, not to discuss or debate motions, and that is actually considered out of order to do that. So just keep that in mind as we're moving along, guys, because I am seeing a lot of debate and discussion that should not be happening. Thank you. All right. Mr. Leisner, I see your hands up. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, so my kind of feeling on this is that it's not that much money considering, how far it's being spread around. I do think it's a good idea to use Facebook ads, and my kind of feeling is, assuming, we get some positive results from it, that we would expand this to other counties in the future and hopefully near future. So to me, I'm not necessarily concerned about, which counties are getting the money this go round, because I have a feeling that, as long as we get some positive results from it, other counties will be getting some of the action next go round.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Leisner. Is there any further debate or discussion on the motion? All right. Hearing none, this is just a $600 expenditure, so no need to go into a roll call vote. So we're just going to do a simple voice vote, guys. And I vote would be in favor of expending the $600 for the communications committee to use. A no vote would be against approving this expenditure. Does anybody not understand what we're about to vote on here? All right. Being that everybody says they understand, all in favor of approving the $600 for communications, please say aye.
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 Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
I don't even think I really need to do this, but all those against, please say no. I didn't think so. All right. The motion unanimously passes over here. Congratulations, Mr. Johnson. You now have an extra $600 for the communications committee to do some advertising and outreach there. So thank you guys again over there. Moving along with the agenda, that brings us on to item 14, which is notice the next executive committee meeting will be held on August 20th, 2023. So book that in your calendars, guys. Item 15 is announcements. approximately 10 minutes. Anybody on the EC, region reps, officers, any announcements you'd like to get out? Go ahead, Mr. Leisner, and then I have one myself.
Yeah, so I just wanted to let anyone know in the Panhandle we have a informal meetup for the Libertarian Party of Walton County on August 5th. It's going to be at the North Shore Social. It's in Santa Rosa Beach. Anyone in the Panhandle is welcome to come out. Hoping to try to get an affiliate going up there. So just wanted to throw that out.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Leisner. Mr. Roos, Mr. Rufo, in that order, you may go ahead when you're ready. Go ahead, Mr. Roos.
Thank you, everybody. I wanted to just say that you're all welcome to join us on July 29th. We're doing a Super Saturday of events with Dr. Tom Woods, Altamont Springs Commissioner Jim Turney. We're holding a candidate training workshop in the morning from 9 to 2 p.m. Then after 4 o'clock, we'll be hosting a reception, open bar, and for those who donate a little bit more, they can have dinner with Dr. Woods himself. I'm going to put the information there on our in the chat, and you can also take a look at it in the Discord, as well as I'm going to be posting a blog post about it on our actual website. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Roos. Mr. Rufo, you have the floor, sir. Go ahead.
I just want to congratulate all of the liberty activists and people who were involved and this board and those that were on this board last year. As you all know, or you should know, July 1st, permitless concealed carry became the law in Florida, which is one of the things that we did pass a resolution and request and put pressure on legislators for doing. So pat yourselves on the back. You know, we were a part of something that actually did happen and did move us one step closer towards a world of maximal human liberty. Also, little news for note, the under 21 young adult carry ban was just granted an en banc panel on the 11th District of Court of Appeals. So now the entire court, all of the judges in the court in the 11th Circuit will be hearing it, not just the one panel, which is much better chance of having that terrible piece of legislation overturned. So there are some very positive things happening for Florida in the realm of Second Amendment, and they're only going to get better from here. So pat yourselves on the back. You did some damn good work, and things are looking up.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Rufo. Is there anybody looking to be recognized on the EC for announcements? Going once, going twice. All right, moving on from announcements here. We're going to go into item 16, which is everybody's favorite item on the agenda, which is adjournment. So at this time, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Mr. Johnson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Misigoy, I saw here. Is there any discussion on adjournment? Is there any objection to adjournment? All right, hearing and seeing none. Meeting adjourned. I want to thank everybody again for coming out, taking the time out of their Sunday night to be here with us. Once again, next meeting is going to be August 20th, 2023. That's 4 Sundays from now, I believe. So once again, put in your calendars. Committee chairs, be ready if you guys are still on the call. We're going to be, me and Mr. Crosby, this rest of this month are going to be going through, leading up to the committee chairs calls, getting everybody ready. And then this committee call is going to be going over the quarterly goals and seeing where we're at getting towards those 6 months goals and what extra help you need with the 3 month that didn't get done. So once again, I want to thank everybody for their time. Appreciate everybody's service here. I'm going to keep the room open if anybody wants to hang out. Otherwise, you know, you guys are free to go enjoy